And we're live. Hold on. And I guess it doesn't matter if I play the intro, but whatever. So, welcome everybody. This is the Reality Czars podcast, and I'm your only host tonight, Nate. Tony's at work, unfortunately. I have the great Tesstamona here. Her pen name you go by for your blog is The Great Silencing.
Yes.
And dude, I'm super stoked to have you on. You were posting some stuff on Instagram, and I was like, come on my show, please. Let's talk about this. So do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself? You're a musical artist too, right? I haven't heard your music yet, but I want to check that out. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am a singer and a songwriter. I'm in the, I guess you could call it alternative hip hop. That's like where my background, I grew up on hip hop. I also grew up on the blues. So my music right now, I mean, I've dabbled in a lot of different styles, but right now, especially for the albums I've got coming out, it's like an alternative hip hop blues fusion. You'll hear some elements of lo-fi in there every now and then, but like I love the blues. I love those really powerful, just like from the soul, just guitar riffs and mixing that with hip hop. So, and then I sing, I can rap too, but I mean, I predominantly sing. So that's what I do for music. My artist name is Tesstamona. My music can be found on all streaming platforms, or you can go to www.tesstamona.com. On all socials, it is at Tesstamona, unless you're on Telegram, and then it's Tesstamona Music because somebody jacked my name. And then as far as the writing goes, so I started my writing, it was obviously just a little cheap play off of The Great Reset, but I called it The Great Silencing because I kept getting fucking censored and banned everywhere. And so I'm like, you know what, fuck this. And it started off as a piece of like dystopian guised under fiction, but I'm like, this is not fiction to me at all. Like it was just my projection, and I called it The Great Silencing. And just painted a picture of like what I thought the world would look like in a few years. And then I was like, I'm going to actually run with this and just use this for all my writing and keep this separate because dude, my music account is fucking fried. There's nothing I can do about it. I don't give a fuck. But just the amount of strikes that I get on Meta or social media is almost daily at this point. So, you know, Tesstamona. Definitely find that on Instagram or any streaming platform, Tesstamona. And then for Great Silencing, you can find that blog on my Tesstamona website, or you can go to The Great Silencing Uncensored on Telegram or on Instagram. It's just at The Great Silencing.
Awesome. And I'm bummed, man. I didn't know that you were out here. You were also a Pacific Northwester. Nerd.
Yeah, dude. Born and raised in Oregon. I was living in LA for a minute, but I was there, everything was fucking great. Then like 6 months in, COVID hit and it just turned into, some shit that I'm not paying that much money to live in. You know what I mean? Like people getting arrested for walking around past fucking 6 p.m. Fuck that. So I wound up, just trying to like hold it down. I had people from Oregon being like, you need to get the fuck out of there. You need to come back. It's about to get crazy. And I was like, no, man, I'm not going home. I'm not going back. I don't care how crazy it gets. And
if shit's about to get crazy, why would you come back here?
No, bro, it got really
yeah, this shit's fucking nuts, man.
It got bad down there. Like it was, yeah. So I did end up having to go back up to Oregon. But I was
in LA, you're saying?
I gotcha.
I could imagine.
Yeah, and I was living in central Hollywood, and then also a little bit of East Hollywood and Little Armenia. So not the fancy area, not the nice area, not the Hollywood Hills. This is like where, on a good day, like people are fighting with PVC pipes and trash cans are on fire. So, but lockdown Hollywood is a totally different fucking story. And, there's some stories and some shit I could go off on, but I lived in lockdown LA for like 8 months straight, and shit got really, really fucking bad. It just got to a point where I'm like, if I want to survive, I need to get the fuck out of here. And so I just literally loaded up my car. I left the majority of my shit behind in the studio I was renting, and I just fucking dipped. And I was just back in Oregon and hella pissed. But when I got back in Oregon, I'm like, everybody up here, the cult of fear is like 1,000 times stronger than anything I had experienced. I was like, what in the fuck have y'all been drinking? But so that tripped me out, but there was a lot more freedom in the sense that like businesses were open and like you could go out to places and so like that was cool, but I knew I wasn't going to stay there. And then just 2 months ago I moved out to Tennessee and I'm like on the outskirts of Nashville right now. So yeah, I just wanted to get off the West Coast and cuz no.
You and Scott both moving out to Tennessee. Shout out to Scott. We love you, Scott from Rebunked.
Yeah, dude, that shit was weird because like I kept it hella on the low when I came back to Oregon for some personal reasons. And so only certain people knew. So Scott didn't even know I was back in Oregon. Like he thought I was still in LA. And then I had made some, I guess like a post on Instagram or Facebook or some shit where I was like, all right, it's official. I'm moving to Nashville. And he like put everything together and was like, what the fuck? Like you've been here and you're moving there? Cause like I'm about to do the same thing in 2 weeks. So that like, started us talking again and shit. Cause I've known him for a couple of years. So yeah, it was a trip. We had no idea that we were both planning on coming out here, but we got here 2 weeks apart. So
fucking A.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where do we start?
I know, bro. Let's see. So, I'm going to let you pick it and then I can just go off. I got like so many documents right next to me too. And I'm like,
we've got the documents.
I know. I feel like fucking Alex. I was like, I have the documents. I do though. But I'm like, it's like, how am I going to get through all this shit? Like, damn.
I'm fucking stoked, man. I wanted to do this episode. Like I thought about doing this episode like right when we started. It was about a year ago. Like I started seeing this shit happen. Like because I'm in the food service industry, and so I have like a quick.
Hey, me too. Well,
yeah. So I have like a finger on the fucking pulse of this shit. Like I pay attention to prices all the time because like I order shit in. I'm doing the inventory. I'm checking the shit in, and like I have to keep my food cost, all that stuff. And so like. I started seeing little fucking ripples here and there. And like, as soon as lockdown happened, everyone lost their fucking mind. Like, at least in like the processing, like where people don't even like understand or realize it was like the food processing too, because like my wife's aunt owns like a pig farm and she would kill her pigs and she would have them like processed and then sold for meat. And she got put on a 2-year waiting list. Like out of fucking nowhere. They're just like, nope, we're not doing it anymore because they shut down all the meat processing plants. And then like I was watching these things where like the government was forcing people to like dump out. It was like 1 million gallons of milk or something like that. They had to pour out a fucking, and then this other guy had to like bury 2 million eggs. This other farm had to bury, I don't remember how many fucking potatoes and just throw them away. And I was like, this is a really fucking weird time because they had shut down all of the processing. And so they couldn't, like, I guess they couldn't, process all the food and ship it and shit.
Complete bullshit. So have you checked out the Rockefeller report for something that he has, or not he, sorry, there's 100 people actually behind this report, but it's called Reset the Table. And it's literally a great reset, but for our food system. So have you looked into that shit? Because it's weird. It is so weird. But yeah, they have been planning. Like this is very much part of the plan. Like everything that we're seeing, the end is always the same with these people. And I noticed this being kind of an issue. Like, I mean, when you're talking normies or just regular people, like they're batshit distracted or just numb the fuck out. Like we already know that. But even people who are like, truthers are like trying to figure shit out. It can be so hard to not get lost or blackpilled or just be in dead end rabbit holes because they have so many means, but it's all to one end. You know what I mean? So I see a lot of people like going down little things and I'm just like, bro, like you got to learn to triage this shit. Like we're literally going to be dealing with, I read these fucking papers. It said like they've already been using Texas and California are their 2 pilot states when it comes to like power grid stuff. But they're planning on making this like national and actually starting to experiment with it August of this year, meaning 2 months from now. So I'm like, you guys need to be like really paying attention to the fucking power grid because unless you live on, again, some immaculate homestead that is all solar powered and you are like good to go and you're stocked and prepped for the long haul and you've got your security defense, all that kind of, which is a very small percentage of the population, then like you need to be fucking thinking about this. So like I almost feel like even talking about, for me, I've even been hesitant to talk about things like, what's been going on in Davos or anything related to like, lockdown this, bullshit, that, whatever the fuck they're doing. Cause I'm like, man, the stuff that's coming down the line and the stuff that we're seeing right now makes, 2020 up until, even now seem like a fucking Cadillac problem. Like this shit is much more pressing. But this is what they do. They give you like a little grain of the information and then they shove like the giant distraction cake in your face. And then everybody just kind of hovers around that. So it gets missed until it's too late. But yeah, like you said, like if there's food shortages, that shit happens overnight. The people that produce, manufacture, distribute, they all got to get the plug pulled on them. I was actually talking to somebody who works in a distribution plant. I won't say who it is or what the plant was, but it's a big one. And I asked him, I was just like, what's the deal? What's going on? Like with where you work at? And he's like, yeah, we're not able to get most stuff. And they literally just will not tell us why. And then when you really press, they're like, oh, we're back ordered. We're for like, X amount of, time. Or so I think I heard 2 years from one person, but I was like, and he's like, that doesn't even make any sense because we have their inventory, we're their distributor, we know their sales. Like there's no way that they are doing well enough to be all of a sudden all that back ordered. That's not real. And they're like not even that far away from us. So like how the fuck is that possible? You know what I mean? But they're getting that shit right. That's happening right now.
As we speak, there's still fucking food or whatever. I don't know if it's food. There's still shit on fucking crates on giant boats in the ports and shit. And it's all manufactured. People just don't even fucking realize it. Like when that giant fucking ship went sideways in the Panama Canal and then threw everyone off, and like it's all manufactured bullshit.
Mm-hmm. It is. It 100% is. And it's for a reason. If you read the Reset the Table report, it's fucking eerie. Just the language that they use. You know what I mean? It's really eerie, but they're just kind of like salivating over it. They're like, this is just an opportunity to invest and reinvent the economy and blah, blah, blah. Everything's always about the fucking economy. But, then they want you to think it's all about like, let's make everything green and progressive and equal for all and smart and blah. It's like, none of that shit. And I highly suggest people read the document Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, as it like just gives you a completely different lens to be able to break these reports down. Like you notice shit that you normally would not. I wouldn't unless I would have read this document. And now I'm reading the other ones and I'm like, oh shit, that was like in their formula, fucking almost 100 years ago. Like, and they're still using that language. So
it's absolutely wild.
It's part of, human engineering, farming. And by farming, I don't mean actual animals. I mean us. It's hurting us into, these smart cities where everything can be tracked, and the more it can be tracked and the more data that can be gathered, the more predictable it is to manipulate. So it gives them more control over either our behavior, our spending habits, or our numbers, if we want to talk population.
So that's the fascinating thing is like a while ago I was doing I did a little bit of research on this, getting ready for an interview with a guy. His name's Oddman. Shout out to Oddman. He did a series on his show about like Fabian socialism.
Mm-hmm.
And like, to me, like I was always having a trouble, like trying to figure out, like trying to like gather loose ends and trying to figure out where it was all connected. And if you look up, if you really do your research on Fabian socialism, like the Fabian Society, like this was all manufactured. They said it back then. They were like, they were the ones that like really got into like the technocratic stuff, like in the early 1900s and things like that. They were they started the World Economic Forum. They were part of the Club of Rome, like it. And so you can see these, like this group that started, it was 1884 when these guys started, and you can track back all this shit back to them, and their whole motto is like, I'm gonna ruin it. It's something like, for the time to strike we wait, but when we strike hard. It's something like that. And their like symbol is a tortoise, and they're like, it's like slow and steady wins the race. Like their ultimate goal was like technocratic communism. And they liked Karl Marx. Like they considered themselves like Marxists, but they didn't agree with their methods. They thought that it would be like, they were like, we need to go the slow, pragmatic. We need to like infest and take over like different areas of like government and like corporations, and just slowly infiltrate and just fucking. And then when we strike hard. And it's just fascinating watching these people like when you hear someone like Klaus Schwab talk about how the World Economic Forum has like people all in like Canada's parliament, and all in like these different, like all these different, what he's saying is like, they're all fucking tortoises. They're all Fabian socialists, and we're all just waiting for our fucking turn. We're waiting for our time to strike. And Jesus Christ, if it isn't like, it seems like now they're getting ready to fucking strike, and it's wild.
It is. I mean, because I've been, that's something that I, have been concerned with is, like, what's my timeline? Like, how much fucking time do we have, And then I found that, that Rothschild document that was like, oh yeah, we're starting this in August 2022. And I was like, cool. So 2 months. But again, I don't know what it's going to look like. But according to all of, Klaus Schwab's writing that I've read, and then in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars as well. Like the whole reason why they even designed the computer is because they wanted an AI device to be able to predict when human society would be at a point of submission. This is the whole fucking point of data gathering, of all this shit, of everything. Is they want to figure out like when are we going to be at that point? But reading Klaus Schwab's books, which are fucking weird, for sure. The dude is a real bizarre sociopath, but they all are. But reading his, I noticed that, because everybody is always like, yeah, Agenda 2030, it's 2030. No, every date that I see him use, it's 2025. And
yeah.
So, and that may or may not be the point of submission or capitulation that they talk about. But did you ever see those leaked, like they were like military documents where it's like a chart of every country in the world, and these were put out like a while ago, but the number on those again was 2025, and it was like, here's the current population, and this is the number we need it to get per country by 2025. And so like they were using those that year as well. So I don't know. I mean, they do roll things out in stages, like they're masters of the long game without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, otherwise there would be a revolution. You have to be so kind of gradual, so people kind of build up a tolerance, and then all of a sudden people just fucking snap.
Yeah.
And then by that point they're like, well, now we have you exactly where we want you. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like a great reset or their agenda or their new world order or build back better, whatever language they want to use, all of it is implicative of needing a collapse first. So they have to get us into a place of submission where everything is destroyed, and we're begging them for their solution, and they're the ones that are giving the problem. So it's like, well, we have a few options in that case. We either like go along like a fucking idiot and assume that, nothing bad is going to happen, and like they're not up to anything, and get fucked, or possibly like die in the in the middle years before we're like, because there's gonna be some years, I feel like, in between where it's like we're dealing with blackouts, power outages, people are kind of migrating, like there's gonna be some civil unrest on a level that we haven't seen.
At least this country hasn't seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Other countries definitely have, but yeah, not us. At least not in a very long time. So I think there's going to be a little bit of that, because they really do need to get everybody like as terrified as possible, especially of each other. Like they have to destroy camaraderie within society, and especially within the family unit. But like they gotta have you just be begging them for their fucking solution. So everything that they're doing is leading to that. So it's like you can either go along with it, Trying to fight it, I don't think there is a way with how well their bases are covered and how long they've been at this and the technology they have. So, like, going and shouting at public, government buildings doesn't do fuck all. They don't care. So that kind of shit don't matter. And then there's the other option, which is get prepared, get your own spiritual self together. Because if our spiritual self is not together, how the fuck are we going to coexist in a time this stressful with other people? Like, look at how people have relationships today, just with the lights on, with the gas pumps working, with people being able to get their little prescriptions, their groceries, their water, their whatever. And look at how hard it is for people to have interpersonal relationships today, even with themselves. I mean, people are always in conflict. They're always doing weird shit. Imagine putting everybody in a state of extreme stress. So people got to really do their own internal work to be able to survive in communities. And then community building is kind of the only way out, is we have to rely on each other. So people don't understand, like,
it's evilly beautiful the way that they painted this. I mean, they've attacked us on every front. They've attacked us spiritually, mentally, physically. These psychopaths are just like, they have us at our most vulnerable state right now, and they win when we're in fear, and so
absolutely.
They keep us distracted, and they just want us eating Krispy Kreme donuts. They want us watching Pornhub and like giving all our time and attention to like just awful dog shit, and just what's on the news. Oh my God, Ukraine. Hey, did you hear about monkeypox? Amber Heard shit the bed. Like, they keep us like distracted, and they just want us ineffectual. They want us weak. They want us eating just horrible shit. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Find out what else they want us to eat. I've looked into some of this shit. God, hang on, let me see, because I did write it down, because I was like, what the fuck when I heard it. Or I didn't hear it, I was reading.
Yeah. I had a friend that was like asking me about this, and he was like, man, I'm hearing about these food distribution places burning to the fucking ground.
Oh, yeah,
like, what do you think their end game is? And so like I came up with a couple ideas, and I was like, well, I mean, if I'm being like your normie idiot, I might say something like, I bet those food distribution companies are probably hurting after the, from Russia and from the pandemic and things. So it could be insurance. Maybe they're just burning themselves to the ground and they're committing insurance fraud or something. But really, I mean, what I think this is like, for the third world, we're probably going to see something similar to like a Holodomor, where I think probably like with all of the wheat that's not being grown or harvested right now from like Russia and the Ukraine and things like that. And obviously we're having to deal with a real serious problem of bird flu. So we're going to have to kill all the birds, and we're going to have to kill all the fucking, get rid of the chicken eggs and, all this stuff. And we can't let cows fart. So we're going to have to get rid of them too. But, this whole thing. So like, I really think that like the third world countries, this is how they're going to reduce that nice big population of Africa that wouldn't get their jabs. Like, Africa wouldn't get their fucking jabs, which is good on them. So they're going to fucking starve them to death.
Experimenting on.
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing all their experiments the last fucking 20 years. No shit. They're not taking that. They're like,
fuck you. Yeah, exactly.
Like, we've already seen what that shit does. We're not taking that shit. Fuck off.
So for us in the first world, where they're not going to let us starve to death, but there's not going to be any like good food around. So this is when they're going to be like, hey, we'll put Impossible Burger on sale. Hey, we got this lab grown meat actually, and you can eat some of that too. And don't forget the bugs. Yes, and I think this is how they're going to introduce this and try to get it into our regular fucking diets, because America's too stubborn. When we're fat and happy, I'm going to eat a hamburger. Fuck your Impossible Burger. Like, they can't even sell it. Like, when the shelves were bare, dude, there was still Impossible Burger on the shelf. It was like, fuck that.
I was like, no, they're still hungry enough for that shit. No, but they don't have to anymore though. So there's a Harvard program, but they petitioned the USDA like a year ago to have their synthetic lab grown meat be sold and marketed as actual beef without letting the consumer know that it's not beef. And it was approved.
Fuck.
So for all we know, that shit's already out there. I fucking love you, Joe. Sorry, I was just reading his comment. Yeah, no, we ain't putting none of that shit in our bodies, bro. Fuck that.
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
gonna get ahead of this one. Sorry, I'm not taking your monkeypox shot either. Go fuck
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, exactly. Fuck yourself. We are not taking any of the shots. That's why I got my little fucking fuck off shirt right here with the Pfizer logo. I love this shit. But what they are also introducing, which is why like vertical farming is so interesting. You know, of course, Bill Gates is fucking behind it, and that's how I've been getting slammed. It's like every time I talk about him now, my accounts are just getting like fucking flagged every day. It's just like a new thing every day. I'm like, y'all are what the fuck?
Hey
But
YouTube.
huh?
I said, hey YouTube. Bill Gates is a fat tranny with tits, and he can go fuck himself.
Yeah, we'll see if we can burn the YouTube channel tonight. Yeah, for anybody who is listening, when Nate sent me the link to his YouTube today when we were messaging through Instagram, I tried to click the link to his fucking YouTube channel, and it popped up with a warning, and it blocked me from accessing it and said, "We suspect this to be a malicious link." And I'm
Yeah,
like,
dangerous content.
oh, yeah, and dangerous content. And I was like, let me see it anyway, bitch. Like, fuck you. I'm trying to like, find out like where my fucking live stream link is so I can share it to people. And it just wouldn't. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just go on and find you on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, Instagram is, they're aware and YouTube's aware. And like, I'm not exactly, if they see the name Tesstamona, that's not exactly their favorite thing either. So, because I get the shit censored out of me for like, well, there's reasons, but they'll seemingly
For
do it.
telling the truth.
They'll seemingly do it for no reason. I mean, it's annoying as fuck when they do it to my music though, too, because I'm like,
Yeah.
that song wasn't even about anything, and you're like, you just removed it 5 times for like no reason. Like, what the fuck? So, but anyway,
They gotta punish you any way they can.
yeah, they do, but I don't give a shit. I'm like, I'm not taking down any of that stuff. Fuck you. And if you take it down, I'm putting it somewhere else. But yeah, so part of their food reset too is like, and this ties into vertical farming because they are developing mRNA vaccines, and they've managed, so they're actually calling it farming, but PHARMING. So literally like farming. And anybody can look this up. I'm not fucking making this up. This is their shit. I didn't come up with that. But they are working on modifying the tobacco plant to have a yeah, exactly, Joe. Yes, definitely get a VPN. They're messing with the tobacco plant and a tomato. They're like, oh, we're going to use this to like deliver the COVID vaccine, but they already have mRNA vaccines that they're injecting in like meat and like produce with, especially for the vertical farming in the smart cities. So like this new program, how they're calling it, they're literally calling it produce prescription program.
This might be a very naive question, but I'm really hoping that I think you just answered that. So, I mean, I've definitely heard about them talking about like you can get your vaccine while you're eating a salad, and they're talking about this new fucking technology where they're going to put the fucking vaccine into the DNA of the plant, and then you're going to eat it, things like that. Is that out right now?
Yes.
It's in a fucking. What are they giving me?
Well, don't like. All I'm gonna say is like it's not dead ass full blown because we're not like 100% in the dystopia yet. But yeah, it like if you shop at a place like Walmart, Kroger, I would assume Publix. I don't know. Oh yeah, you're in Oregon. Okay. So
Fred Meyer, it's owned by goddamn Kroger. I almost shop exclusively there.
Yeah, don't anymore because Fred Meyer and Kroger are the same thing.
Yeah.
So fuck Fred Meyer, and for you also, I would avoid Safeway and Albertsons and Walmart. So like any of the like,
I don't think there's any other choice out here.
well, I mean that's what sucks. Shit is like,
yeah.
If you want to dodge that, it's like food becomes very, very expensive, or you can tap into local CSAs, tap in with like local farmers, get like involved in a farm share where you can pick. What's up, John? Where you can, there we go, where you can, basically be getting be getting food with them, every week. That's what I'm doing. But like, yeah, when I lived in Oregon, like I basically just ate way less, but I shopped at the more expensive places. Because I'm like, I'm definitely not eating that shit because it's not even food. And I'd like to not, like slowly die inside, just at the moment. So, I mean,
Do
it
you
just,
have any idea what type of fucking vaccines that they're putting into food right now?
all I know is that they're mRNA technology, and some of them are COVID vaccines, but the other ones I do not know. As far as meat and shit like that, I mean, like there have been, with Big Ag, they've been vaccinating their livestock with
Mm-hmm.
God knows fucking what, for a very long time. So like even when I'm here, talking to farmers and getting products and
Fuck,
stuff.
they're gonna turn me vegan.
Yeah, well, they don't have to though. They don't have to. I
Yeah.
mean, because they're definitely we. Are you like? I can after the podcast, I'll hook you up. I won't say anything on the podcast
Okay.
just because it'll give away personal information. But I know somebody that is that delivers in your location that works for a farm that does not vaccinate their animals, does not treat them with any pharmaceuticals. They have a lot of different products. They don't even allow people who have received the COVID vaccine on their property.
Good.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so and they do drops like one of my friends does drops like all up and down the interstate, like for the entire state,
That's
every
awesome. Yeah.
single week. So I could hook you up with her. She's like one of my closest friends, and that would be a good plug, probably just to like get some good nutrients going.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. So let's see, where do we get this started? Let's see. Do you want to start talking about like let's talk about the food distribution sites. Let's talk about like for the normies out here that think we're crazy. We've been watching this for a while, man, and you might think that your dollar things are just getting expensive and you don't understand it and you don't know why, and maybe you think it's Vladimir Putin or something. Uh,
Oh my God. I'm like, how short are people's fucking memories? Jesus. Yeah, no. So yeah, the distribution. So yeah, let's look at like the common reasons why people, believe the bullshit. They're like, oh well, this is just I don't really like hang out with a lot of what you would call a normie, but I still know some, and I listen to them and shit. And I'm like, all right, that's interesting that you believe that. But some of them are like, well, we had COVID and it fucked everything up. So of course we're gonna have these problems. And I'm like, how does that make any sense to you? But it does. So they believe that. Or they believe it's maybe the war, or maybe I honestly don't know. I don't know what the talking heads on the Mockingbird media are currently feeding them at the moment because I don't fucking watch it.
yeah.
So I don't know what, like, and some of them are just like, no, 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 there's no food shortage. And I'm like, have you been to a store? Because every time I go to one, I'm like, maybe you just live in an area that hasn't been touched yet. But like every time I go to one, like there's shit. It looks just like when the pandemic hit in the grocery stores, not the immediate. Because when it hit in the immediate, I was having to drive multiple hours outside of where I lived to find food. Like it was, grocery shopping took like 8 hours because you had to just go like get little bits from like place to place to place to place to place on the outskirts, nothing in the city for in like right at the beginning. What's concerning to me now is I'm seeing it worse on the outskirts first, as opposed to the city. And I'm like, that's a problem because like that's where we were going to get our shit the first time. So it's like, and then less people also pick up on it because there's less people out there. So it's interesting. But yeah, as far as distribution, when people are like, I don't understand, why would they do that? Why? What's the end game? Well, the end game is so they can completely control and automate the fucking food supply and the food chain. Like that's literally their end to everything is control. And in order to have control, it needs to be automated so you can predict it. That way you can manipulate its trajectory. So that's the fucking point. Also, when for them, like, because their matrix is based upon inflation. When inflation needs to be in accordance with their lingo, they refer to it as bookkeeping. But what they're talking about is like war and genocide and depopulation. So like if they have to, they'll kill off some of the creditors. You know what I'm saying? To like release some of the fake monopoly resources back into the economy. But they have a lot of plans for this. I mean, Why would they not want to crash the food supply? Like they could automate it. They have all control over it. So that leaves room for a social credit score to come in and a digital ID as well. It also gives them the ability to combine their little like healthcare regime, whatever the fuck you want to call that shit, with our food. It removes people from being able to be, self-reliant because they don't like that shit. Like our sovereignty is basically the biggest threat to them. So like people who are self-sufficient and able to survive without them, like they don't like that. That's a problem to them. That's the biggest thing they don't fucking like. And then it gives them an opportunity to also inject all of our food with pharmaceuticals, with vaccines, and it's like, all that kind of shit. I mean, they've already admitted to it. I mean, literally, it's in the documents. Like you guys, they are writing it. I'm not like making this up or just finding it on a meme on Instagram. Like I read what they put out and like I pay attention to what they're doing. So it's just more centralization, more herding into smart cities, where it's much easier to gather data if everybody's like in the same area and in an automated society. It gives them an opportunity to like deliver all the products they want to deliver into our bloodstream to make us dumb as shit and just like perfect, little cattle herded slaves through our food. And it also gives way for, of course, they're going to need to build back better and have a great reset if things get that bad, like so they have to destroy what is in order for them to bring in something new. Otherwise, why is somebody going to want to make it that big of a change? Like people don't, they just kind of are, largely very distracted and in their own little worlds and just in their own lives and going about whatever, it's like, so you really kind of have to shake the fucking tree to get their attention and get them to accept something, especially something so drastic and so new. And you've got to have ways to justify it. So that's why manufactured crisis and fear and playing off people's emotions, the way to do it.
And to control the future, you have to control the past. And so people don't understand, like they keep asking why would they do this, when honestly, you have to understand their motivations, because they've been very clear and they've been out in the open with it. Like if you talk about like even the modeling for our public school system, right? The Prussian model. And it was like started to keep us literally just smart enough to keep the factories going, to keep things working. Like the Prussian school system, like that model that we took from Prussia, right, was all about like, the bell rings, you go sit in your chair, you sit there and they regurgitate facts to you. You don't realize where you don't go through the process where you like question something and derive the fact. They tell you what reality is, and then they grade you on how well you fucking repeat it back to them.
Exactly.
Right?
I actually just wrote a song about that 2 days ago. It's called Repeat After Me. But literally, because I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, nobody has actually been taught how to critically think.
No one. Yeah.
Taught how to remember and repeat.
Exactly.
That's a big fucking problem. And then what also trips me out is I'm like, because there are a lot of people that are pretty awake and that can critically think and, whatever. And I'm like, well, then what's the difference? Like, why does that spell essentially, or that programming work on some people and not others? Let's see what John just said. Kindergarten equals kidgarden equals make humans veggies or stupid projects.
Yep.
Yeah, it should. Anti-education, pro-indoctrination. 100%. 100 fucking percent. It talks about that shit in Silent Weapon. Hang on 1 second. Let me fucking. Oof. Can I read something off of the manual? Okay, because just listen to this, because they get into the kids a lot, but like the education system is huge for them. This is when like women, went back to, started joining the workforce around World War II. So like this was actually, I guess women thought it was their idea. And I don't know where it was planted, but it played right.
I want to be a tax slave too.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
nothing says feminism like being a cog in the machine.
I know. I'm like, I really, I'm not super thrilled. But like, I'm all about, getting my own and providing for myself and not being dependent on others. But like, do I want to fucking work your 9 to 5? No.
Nothing says independence like my whole subsistence is based off of my, having to work for a
Yeah,
fucking giant
nothing says
corporation.
freedom
And
than giving my entire life away to somebody I've never even met, and then
that's feminism.
getting a week of vacation
Mm.
a year if I'm lucky. So yeah, fuck all that. But so this is part of their manual for silent weapons for quiet wars. So in order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low class elements of society must be brought under total control, i.e., must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the mote of ignorance isolating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential to maintain some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. That's just one thing. And this
Yeah.
is, by the way, this is not written by somebody observing the system. This is an old ass document. This was like used. People should look into operations research, the Harvard operations research program, and the first Bilderberg meeting in 1954. Yeah. This is like their fucking writing. This is not like some random person speculating, just so you guys know.
So two things.
Please.
First thing is they always tell you what they're going to do. Like, all of that is written down. They have to do that. I mean, I don't know if it has something to do with some Black Saturnian cult and like this is to relieve some of their fucking karmic, like
it's
whatever
it is. Law. It's a karmic law. They believe that if, in their words, that if human beings with intelligence refuse to use it, then they really are no different from jellyfish or an animal who has none. Yeah. Could be treated as such.
So then number two, God damn it, now I just forgot. It's all good. And number two was that one. Okay. It always annoys me when people says, no, government are just a bunch of dummies. They're all just too stupid. None of this they couldn't ever plan any of this. This is all just, and yes and no. Yes, like the dummies that you hear about, like AOCs and the people that they put out up front, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, actually, I'm sure Nancy Pelosi's smart as fuck, or was before she lost her goddamn mind.
Pretty goddamn smart.
But like, these people, government for the most part is full of bumbling fucking morons, right? Like the people that like are on the city council, I'm sure, fucking morons, mouth-breathing idiots. Like probably the majority of people in the Senate and Congress are absolutely mentally retarded. I'm sure. But the people that are really making the decisions, like behind the fucking, whatever you want to call it, like the deep state or whatever you want to call it, they're not stupid.
No.
They're not bumbling idiots. And yes, this has all been fucking planned. And it's genius. Like exactly what you read. Holy shit. Let's keep the poor people. First of all, they're desperate. They're hungry. So let's offer them something, like let's give them some free childcare. Let's keep them busy. Let's keep them working. And let's keep them hungry so they have to work hard. So you guys are going to be in our factories working your fucking ass off. Yeah, get some overtime. I'm going to tax your overtime double. Keep going. That's the most fucked thing. But so just keep going. We'll take care of your kids. Don't worry. We got them. We're going to teach them how to give good blowjobs and anal sex things. We're going to teach them about drugs. We're going to teach them about history. We're going to give them some fuck. Yeah, that's so fucked. What you read was so fucked.
Bro, it gets so much worse than that. Like I literally, I read the whole document in like 2 separate sittings, but I was talking to a friend about it, and she's like, because one of my spiritual practices that I do that helps me a lot is Kundalini yoga and like the meditations and that. And she's like, I hope you are attending. I called dibs on throat punching the first commie trans cock in World War III. The Rothschild family has been working to destroy humanity for hundreds of years. Read Peter Gray, read Jordan Peterson. Yes. Love you, Joe. Yes. I called it. I don't know. You're going to have to move pretty. The Georgia congressman asked if an island would tip over if too many people were on it on TV.
I remember that. That was funny as shit. That was funny as shit. I don't remember what congressman that was. Yeah, that was funny as shit. I think it was like Samoa, some little island. That's funny.
Would the island tip over if too many? Okay. All right. Anyways, I fucking love that. I appreciate to anybody and everybody who is fucking adding comments to this. Thank you, dude. You guys are fucking awesome. Yeah, this manual, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, is literally. I mean, I've read a lot. I've been looking into things.
Do you have a link to that?
I got the hard copy, but
gotcha. Okay,
send you the link to it.
I'd love to throw that in the show notes too, and I need to read it myself.
I can 100%. I have multiple links to it because I have the actual like scanned PDF because this was written a long time ago, so it wasn't typed up and shit. It's a little hard on the eyes to read on a computer screen, just a heads up. So unless you have a large screen and can kind of blow it up. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So I might suggest printing it out, but yeah, I've got the original, PDF of it. And then there's written that are not doctored at all. They're not changed. They're just they had to be retranscribed because it's old ass typewriter on old ass paper. And whoever fucking scanned it, apparently has a problem with putting things in a straight. So it was just kind of hard on the eyes. And I was just you know what? I need to start getting as much of my information in physical copies as possible.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Things fucking disappear from the internet all the time. I have a hard drive of videos and shit of hella valuable information that are not even on the internet anymore because they just get fucking yeeted. So I like to have a lot of hard copies. But yes,
dead internet. Yeah.
I will send you. Actually, wait. Could I put the links in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Well, I can just do that. I can do that now while I'm kind of looking off to the side here.
So, do you want to talk about any specific food distribution sites that fucking have burned down recently? Do you have a rough number? Because the last time I looked at it, maybe 3 weeks ago, it was over 20.
It's been since January. It's been 56.
Jesus.
That was as of 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. It was the last time I checked on it, and it had been 56. I also have the video. I don't know if I could put that in the chat, but I can also just tell you where to get it. God, it was kind of hard to find. But it literally, I mean, it's not nothing crazy entertaining. It's just literally somebody going through each location one by one, being this place, this is what happened. Some of them have been in Oregon too, and then
there was one that was in Oregon. That wasn't very long ago. Yeah, that was pretty recently, and then the one in Idaho, I think, is always funny too. A fucking plane crashed into it and. Just gives me. You didn't hear about that one? That there was a potato distribution site.
There was a plane crash. Okay, yeah, we haven't seen that happen.
Crashed. Exactly. It's getting some 9/11 vibes.
Into a building before. Wow. Yeah. What are the odds that it just fucking hits? That. But yeah, most of them are I did have one little Bill Gates fanboy try to come at me when I made a post on the food shortages and the processing plants, and he was like, no, all that happened because he doesn't talk like that. I'm
sure he does. Actually,
I don't know.
Sure he does.
Fuck that motherfucker. He
actually, and I bet he has high speak too, like this. But he was everything every sentence that ends kind of sounds like it's a question.
Yeah, exactly. This fucking cocksucker. I'm sorry. But anyway, so this motherfucker was like, no, it's because the facilities were contaminated. And I'm like, oh yeah, 56 of them in 5 months are just all having contamination problems. You fucking idiot. look at what's happening. None of it is contaminated. Like literally they have fire departments on record being like, we want to investigate this because this is sus as fuck and we're not being allowed to. Just look into it. It's right there. I don't have time to be on Instagram arguing with you all day, bro. Like, shut the fuck up. Just do a search. Like, even if you're dumb enough to use Google, use Google. I don't give a fuck. It'll still show up, but they don't want to do it. And that is something I have noticed that is a huge fucking problem with these people, is this implanted instinct of the Matrix, which is this contempt prior to investigation. It's like you could tell them literally, everything you are wondering about is right there. Just literally go look at it. But instead of doing that, which requires way less time and energy, they want to like run around in circles and do all this other weird. And I'm like, I don't know. Yes, yes, Joe. A willful ignorance is rampant in the world today. Yeah, it is, and it comes from fear. I think it's people's egos that are automatically trained to want to like keep this false sense of security, so they really lash out when they perceive any information that can threaten it. But I'm like, well, would you rather have the intel and then plan accordingly and like secure yourself, or would you rather just keep pretending like it's not happening? You know, and usually it's the latter.
So how open do you think that this secret is? Like among, I mean, I'm thinking about like, how the fuck doesn't like regular government, like there has to be some decent fucking FBI or CIA agents that are watching this happen. Like they're just going along with it. Like this is so wild to me. Like,
oh well, yeah, of course they fucking are. 100%, 100%. Sorry if my eyes are dark.
Uh-oh, I lost you. All right. Well, hopefully Tess jumps back in. Yeah, man, this shit is fucking wild. Here we go. Okay.
Okay.
You back?
I was trying to get you those fucking documents and my computer just tweaked out on me. Yeah, but no, they're aware of it. They know about it. And a lot of the elites, like that's why this has been a thing that's been going on for a long time. But like, they're all fucking buying like these massively expensive underground bunkers in a lot. New Zealand seems to be
New Zealand and Colorado is fucking full of them. Yeah, in the mountains.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I did not know that. So yeah, they've been gearing up for this. I mean, I remember hearing about that in like 2017.
Yeah. I mean, if we were smart, that's what we'd do. We'd start a fucking underground bunker business because, you know, these fucks are spending buku bucks on it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, but like, you know, for us normal people who, you know, like are maybe food service workers or gig workers, contract work. Like I'm a gig and contract worker. Like I'm not fucking, you know, like I don't have billions of dollars, which is fine because like ultimately the real wealth, I believe, is relationships with yourself. Because if you ain't right with yourself, you can't get right with nobody else. So, and you're going to drive yourself nuts, you won't last. So with yourself, but other people, like relationships, I'm talking in real life relationships, because anybody can pretend to be anybody, you know, through the internet or even through the phone. Like you gotta feel people's vibes, but like the community building, like if, you know, one person might not have the resources to build a fucking $3 million bunker, but if a bunch of people come together and pool not just their monetary resources, but their skills, or maybe their other connections within a community, that's how a lot of this shit is happening and is going to need to happen. And so right now it's kind of like finding out, and this is what I'm dealing with right now too, is okay, who's in the know, who's, you know, ready to do this, and like, you know, what kind of moves are we going to make, like where are we going to be located, like if for some reason we're in different states, you know, where is our meetup point? Because, you know, we are fully aware that if you're prepping for any of these situations, like you will not have power and you will also not have access to the cell towers. So
when you were talking about that earlier, you were like, the only people that should or don't necessarily have to worry about this are folks that have, you know, their own homestead and they have their own fucking shit prepped and they have their solar panels and everything. And then, I was actually looking this up and I found this article. It's actually FEMA is tracking and watching preppers right now. Anyone that has over 30 days of they feel like they would be prepared for 30 plus days, are considered like some sort of prepper, and they're tracking you and have a file on you. And so, I mean, even the preppers, you're not fucking ready.
Yeah, I mean,
FEMA's after your
I
ass.
about that shit, you know what I mean? And it's like they're not dumb. Like they, with debit cards, with fucking I mean, they track with UPC, you know what I mean? Universal product codes and shit. They use that to like, they literally track everything you're fucking consuming. I'm just uploading various documents. Also, as we're doing this, this is the last one to the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. It looks like John, I just saw in the comments, uploaded the audio version. I just uploaded, but it just says private chat. It's not letting me upload it into the comments, but I sent it to you. So that's the original document for Quiet Weapons for Silent Wars. Here is a website that transcribed it. I personally ordered mine hard copy, and it literally just looks like this. So you can get it, you can get that as well. Just make sure like that you're not ordering some bullshit. Like, so you definitely want to look at, the original document and make sure they didn't touch it. But for me, just like on the eyes and the way I absorb information, I'm like, I want to read this. Like, I don't, I'm staring at a screen off like all the time. I need to minimize that. But, what was, so yeah, the preppers. Yeah, the prepper community is they're starting to fucking bug out right now, because I am tapped in with that. And for sure they know. I mean, like everybody is ordering. I mean, they're all a lot of them are sold out. Everybody's ordering these, emergency food supply kits, but I'm like, yo, y'all are also forgetting like a pretty crucial thing. Like, not only are all these kits real high in sodium, which means you're going to consume more water. Like, how are y'all going to get your water filtered? Because your sink's not going to work. And on top of that, they like barely have any fucking nutrients. And most of them require cooking, which requires power. So like, that's what I'm just, these people are just getting ripped off. But like, a lot of people are getting ready for that kind of stuff. And for me, it's like, I already know, like, as far as any type of watch list or whatever, like even the Telegram app, that, the person who fucking started Telegram is a World Economic Forum member. It's controlled. They're monitoring the opposition. That's why it's not censored. So we know.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about it, is that they're letting us say basically whatever the fuck we want, which is fantastic. But this is also like that 100 flowers or whatever, like what Mao did, where he gave everybody 100 days to like give the government criticism, and then he was like, okay, that's awesome, I love your feedback. All right, now let's get every single one of them and kill them. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's and so, I mean, that's kind of like what Telegram is. Like, they're handing us rope, and we're making the noose, and we're putting it around our neck, and we're just like sitting there like this. And I mean, it's whatever. Like, what am I going to do?
Like, what the fuck it is, because like, it's like, yeah, we know we're going to deal with some shit in the future. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that's also why part of my plan, it like heavily involves defense and offense and like a tactical location. And people that, are on the same level or way more advanced than I am when it comes to stuff like that. Like, because we're prepared for that shit too. You know what I mean?
So
but
for
right
the
now,
normies out there, so far what we're telling them is this: any of this fucking food, this crisis where things are like your shelves are fucking empty, all of this has been done on purpose. This is all complete horseshit. There shouldn't have ever been any disruption in the supply line. This was manufactured and done on purpose. And so now we've talked about that. We've established that. Now we've talked about the food distribution sites that are literally, there's like 50, and these distribution sites are fucking big. These are like feeding whole fucking like regions in the country, and over 50 of them have burned to the fucking ground for no fucking reason. Or, I mean, an airplane hit one too. That's funny. So that's that. Now let's talk about, do you want to move into smart cities?
Yeah, let's do that actually. And that actually, I literally just posted in the private chat. I don't know if that goes to the people watching it or just you, But I said another good resource for literally everything we're talking about now and more, especially smart cities, is stopthecrime.net. And ironic, look at that. It wouldn't link, but like all the other links I showed worked. And the same thing
That's funny.
With banned.video. Like if you try to like, you know, recommend that on a social platform, if it's on Twitter, it won't even let you post it.
I'm taking a picture of that.
Anywhere else, like it just won't show up as a link.
That's
or
funny.
like, this link is dangerous and it won't let you. So yeah, that's really
like my YouTube channel, apparently.
Yeah, your YouTube channel is malicious content, and everybody should be really fucking careful. You know, so and meanwhile, we're just like, you know, we should like all work on our spiritual shit and like probably come together as a community and like, you know, let's just dodge some bullets. But yeah, what people ultimately need to hear is these people don't give a fuck why you think what's happening is happening. It's just happening. So get your fucking self prepared and also understand that you're going to have to be doing this shit without electricity and cell service. So that means that everything you depend on, even things like gasoline, you're like, oh, I got a generator. Oh, it runs on gas. Okay. Well, if it's not above the ground when the grid goes down, then how the fuck are you going to get it? So people, that's what I meant by like the solar powered homesteads and shit like that. Is I'm like, unless someone,
I mean, even then, if a fucking EMP happens, doesn't that knock out solar?
Yeah. And we also know that they've been like modifying and cloud seeding and geoengineering the weather too. They could totally they could fuck with solar too. You know what I mean? But
well, dude, that was what my wife was saying. My wife was like, because I don't know. I mean, you were here. I'm sure you were here when all of a sudden, out of like January, February, March, April, it was like fucking May, and we had a crazy fucking snowstorm in Oregon.
Oh, I heard
like
about
out
that,
of
dude.
fucking nowhere. And then like for weeks after that, it would be like 2 weeks normal, and then like a crazy fucking hailstorm and a freeze at night and shit. Like they are literally fucking with people trying to put crops in the ground.
Yes.
That's what this is. They want to fucking kill everything.
Yeah, that's happening in Tennessee right now too. And I noticed it, especially in the more rural areas. Like I said, they're targeting those areas because that's where they know we are going to run to when shit hits the fan in the cities. So they're like, oh, we're going to, you know, get rid of this. Let's see. Joe says, I'd rather eat dog shit tacos and wash it down with hot dog water than let the government fuck me in the ass with their dystopian idiocy. Our world is in severe disarray. The heart machine is real, bitch.
Yeah.
It is. You got me to clap my hands. Yes, it is. And I got some fucking juice on HARP. Goal should be 1895 level homestead or solar panel. Yeah. I mean, yeah, or solar panel mania. Yeah, 100%. And another thing about homesteads too that people need to understand is if you've got livestock and you're using electricity that's like irresponsible for their feeding or their maintenance or any type of way, and that shit goes out, you are going to have a massive biohazard on your hands within 48 fucking hours. It's going to leach into the land and it's going to leach into your water. So please fucking take care of that if you have that.
So let's talk to smart cities. Like I had somebody like ask me about it and I was like trying to fucking explain it to them. Like what, because like where I used to live, I moved. I used to live more in the city, and like I'm outside of Portland, and I used to live in more the city-ish area, like on the west side. And I moved like pretty far up north, not that far up north. I'm still like half hour, 45 minutes from Portland, but like I'm in rural Oregon now, which is nice. But in my old stomping grounds, they started building these new houses like in this old, that's the most fucked thing, because where I used to live used to be all farmland, and they've taken it from all the farmers. So they fucking like took their fucking land and now are building houses on it. And I was in it the other day because I was picking up my son's friend, and they're all smart houses. Yeah. All of them. They're smart houses, yes. And they're like technology row and this, that, and the other. And they're like, I can't remember exactly what they fucking call them, but they're like technological, blah, 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 some sort of house. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And like people are like, I've had, I talked to normies and they're asking me about it. And I'm like, well, think about this. So this is going to be tied to your social credit. This is all going to be tied to like our fucking, whatever you call that, our smart ID or whatever. And this is all going to be tied to a social credit. And it's going to be like, think about this. Let's say that you are overweight and you have diabetes, and the government or your doctor tells you this is your medication that you have to take now. right? So now whatever mRNA something or other to fuck with your pancreas to make insulin or something, you're gonna have to take. If you don't fucking take it, when you take a dump, your toilet is literally going to rat on you.
It's gonna snitch you out.
It's gonna snitch you out. Send that shit.
And the vaccines in your produce, motherfucker.
Yep.
If they're looking for you and you eat the wrong shit or whatever, it's got that stuff in it. They're like, ping.
And then let's say your smart fridge is also talking to your toilet, and so your smart fridge is going to rat you out when you have another beer. Because you're not supposed to have another beer. We told you that you're only allowed 2 beers a day. That's it. You can have your genetically modified Budweiser beer, but you're only allowed 2 of them. And so then you reach in, you grab your 3rd beer, you open it, you drink it, your fucking fridge rats you out, tells you this goes to your insurance company because you haven't been taking your medicine and you had a 3rd beer. Guess what? Your premiums just fucking went up. And then something like it's fucking crazy. And then like your toilet's also gonna fucking rat you out where they're like, hey, you just took a shit and I noticed that you have meat. You fucking ate some meat. Where did this come from?
Where'd you get that?
Yeah. Where did you get this meat? Like it's gonna be fucking crazy. Does this person have chickens in his backyard? We told them because of the super new bird flu 2005 or 2025, you're not allowed to have chickens anymore. So where did you get that bird protein? And I'm not detecting any little cockroach legs. So you're not eating your fucking bugs. This is what this new smart grid is going to be like. All of these fucking AIs communicating with each other, talking with each other, and you're just going to be sitting there being completely surveilled and completely controlled. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people what smart cities are going to be like. Because they think it's going to be tight. They think it's going to be like, everything's going to be AI. I'm going to put on my meta glasses and I can go to the metaverse and I can fuck around and I can catch Pokemon while I can jerk off to hentai and shit. And you will be able to do all those terrible things that waste your time.
Yeah, that's creepy as fuck too, though. Like, you're sitting inside your little box with an Oculus on, just like, if my toilet rats me out, I'm shitting in buckets. Fuck out of here. Yeah, John, for real, I'll dig a latrine. I don't give a fuck. But I don't plan on living in the cities. I mean, I've been actually I've had a bunch of people hit me up just in the last 12 hours. And I am in a city right now. You know what I mean? It's kind of a honeycomb hideout because it's like a little on the outskirts, but it's still, I'm still in the fucking honeycomb, and it's like, that's a little uneasy. But I've been talking to a bunch of people, and like we're all like, yo, like we need to get the fuck out of this area. And I've had people like that aren't even connected just all hit me up. Like it's like we have some weird internal like intuitive thing that's like, we need to get out by like this date. And I'm just like, yeah, bro, let's go. Like fucking whatever. But yeah, like I'm not trying to be around that. But so the other aspect of smart cities, and then again, I'm going to recommend this website, stopthecrime.net. The woman who started it just got unbelievably censored. There is one interview of hers available that I was able to find on BitChute that somebody else picked up. It's not the best quality, but this woman is so on her shit. Hopefully she's still fucking alive, but they've done everything they can to get her just yeeted from the public sphere. But that website has information on anything you could think of, but especially when it comes to smart cities and 5G. And 5G also ties in directly with the whole pandemic and like the whole fucking COVID, which I think was just a giant psyop for 5G, to be perfectly honest. But people could debate me on that. That's fine. Like, I don't know anything for sure, but that's what I think based on what I've seen. But these 60 gigawatt millimeter waves, which is EMF laser radiation, what we know as 5G. So it's not always on that fucking high, right? Because what happens when it gets to that level is literally all the symptoms of fucking COVID. It's crazy. It makes it so your body can't absorb oxygen. It's an oxygen absorber, and it's just being shot at you, and it's fucking everything up. I mean, all of the EMF waves in general, the human body and the earth has its own natural magnetic field. But when we have EMF waves, which you're like, I don't know, bro, like top 3, like would be like permanently dismantle HARP and all related technologies. Like shut it down fucking now. Like get rid of it. I don't give a fuck what you have to do, but like just completely wipe that thing off the face of the earth. Because people think it's just weather modification.
Yeah.
It's so far from that. It is so the fuck far from that.
Dude, throw it at me. Well, I need to know more about this because all I was thinking was what was weather modification.
No. Okay, so also the video I have on it. If you have a secure email address, like meaning one that isn't Gmail, I can send it to you as well, so you can just have it, because this was one of the videos that got yeeted from the internet. So I just have it on a hard drive. But if you
I'm
have,
gonna have to make one, then I know my listeners can yell at me. I do have a Gmail, and I know that's retarded.
No, I have one too, and I use it for like regular ass shit. But then I also have one for Proton Mail as well, because it's encrypted. And granted, you know, we all know it is the internet. Nothing is 100% airtight. You know, everything is fucking hackable. However, Proton Mail is a bit safer than fucking Gmail. Let's see. One of our biggest problems coming our way is the attacks on the satellites. Hit the satellites, take down our GPS. Well, I'm so glad you fucking said that, Joe, because that's exactly what HARP does. So not only is HARP able to manufacture any type of weather event, and it is like legally and patented an acceptable form of warfare. We've actually had other countries accuse us, be like, what the fuck? Like the United States is like doing this, that, and the third because we won't do this or what. It's like, yeah, they are. But that just gets brushed under the rug. But they have the technology to interfere with like the human everything. It has the ability to shoot these EMF waves that some of them will bounce off of satellites and then come back and then just like absorb on the planet. But they do it to us, or they can target it anywhere. But worldwide, 100% worldwide. But it did start in the United States. It's, you know, based in Alaska. But they are able to implant thoughts, implant moods, implant states of minds, change moods, change states of minds, completely interfere with your brain's ability to function or think clearly. I mean, because it's like our brain is energy and electricity and all these exchanges going on. And if you blast a fucking EMF laser on it, it's like short circuiting a computer. You just like, you just completely turn that person retarded.
So I want to throw something out for the listeners so they can look this shit up so
100%.
we don't sound fucking crazy. Like, first of all, if you're a rich person, and let's say I'm a fucking, I don't know, whoever, some rich fuck, and like my daughter's getting married, I can 100% order a sunny day. You can, there's like a company that'll do that shit for you. Or you can be like, I want it to rain on this day. And you can fucking do that. That's like, so people that like talk about, that get all like fucking, what do you mean chemtrails, bro? And I'm like, they literally are seeding clouds and they can control the fucking weather.
Government patent office. They've been doing it since the early 1900s. I'll also suggest, and by the way, the filmmaker of this documentary is from Oregon. I'm sure you've fucking seen it. But this is when I was actually on Scott's podcast, and it was like me and Rhymewave and Scott, and we were all talking about this. And I think it was Rhymewave that suggested this. He goes, if you have any fucking friends or like people that like don't believe that weather modification is happening, recommend the documentary Frankenskies to them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, I hadn't seen it. Oh, I watched it. I was like, bitch, what? But so yes, go to frankenskies.com. For free.
I just met Rhymewave actually. I just met him actually up north.
You?
We went to Squatch Fest. And he actually performed. Yeah, he was fucking it was fucking tight, man. It was cool. He made some fucking good music, and it was cool as shit. We just got back actually this last weekend. That was fucking fun.
I really, really like him. He's
actually, shout out to Rhymewave. You're cool, man.
Shout out Rhymewave for sure. I definitely want to hit him up for see about getting him like on a verse on my fucking one of my upcoming albums. He's on my radar for sure. So
cool.
Yeah, he's dope.
So then the second thing that I was going to say, you can actually look this up. They did this, and this is like documented in Guantanamo Bay, like something that you were just saying. Like I wasn't familiar with what you were saying, but I think this is connected where they literally were trying to interrogate terrorists, just like some fucking asshole that they picked up and said, whatever. Most of those people in Guantanamo Bay had nothing to do with any of this bullshit, and
Oh,
it's fucking tragic. They're just
so
some poor goat farmer that they were like, "You look like a terrorist. I'm sending you to goddamn Guantanamo Bay." Like, it's fucked up. But like what they were doing to him was they literally had the technology to shoot sounds into your fucking brain, and they were making him say, "This is Allah. Tell the guard, I'm commanding you. Tell the guards everything you know." And shit like this. This is a commandment from God. And like these poor fucks are like, "Oh my God, I just heard from Jesus," or like, "I just heard from Allah. I have to go," And so they literally, that's documented. This was like an anti-fucking terrorist technology or whatever it is. So I don't know if it's probably similar to what they're doing with HARP, where they can literally shoot shit into your fucking head and you'll hear it auditorily. You'll fucking hear it in your fucking head. So how many poor son of the bitches are crazy that are just more sensitive to these things and are fucking picking up on this shit and are fucking hearing it, and they thought they've lost their fucking mind. And no, you haven't lost your fucking mind. We live in a hellhole.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, no, they have not lost their fucking mind at all. A lot of people that get called crazy, I'm like, you're not. Like, actually, I would be more concerned if you were well adapted to this situation.
Yeah, that's the thing. The craziest people are fucking double fucking jabbed and boosted and get their fucking free donut. And like, these are the fucks. They're the crazy ones. You're not crazy. You're sane. You're doing okay. Reach out. Like, email me, realityzars@gmail.com. Email me. You're okay. You're fucking fine. It's the world that's sick.
100%. Because I know how fucking isolating that is to have all this in your head and feel like you can't talk to anybody about it. Or maybe you live in an area where it's like branch COVIDians abound, and like, if you say shit, you don't, it gets ugly. And so you feel like you can't talk to anybody about it. And like, you maybe haven't tapped in to the amount of communities that there are of people that are, one, in the know, two, in the fucking solution. So they're already moving forward. They're like, we're exiting and building. We're doing this shit over here. We're doing that shit out here. We're doing intentional communities here. Like, we're fucking opting out over there. Also, Derek Bros and the Conscious Revolution is a really good thing to tap into. Also, freedomcells.org and
the Greater Reset.
Yeah, IC.org. IC stands for Intentional Community, if people are looking for that. Because you can search by state. Just be careful. Understand that, like, not all people are well. So use your discernment skills. Other than that, you're fine. But yeah, no, you're not alone. Reach out to either one of us. You can fucking find me on any of my channels, or you can email Tesstamona@gmail.com if you want to. I don't give a fuck. Like, just, hit us up and we'll find out where you're at and we'll link you with people in your area. Because for years, I felt like I was mostly on my own. I had like maybe a few people to talk to about it, but they did not live anywhere near me. You know what I mean? Or like, maybe I could talk to them about some stuff, but like not everything. And it just, I'm so glad that I fucking moved and have been able to tap into in real life interactions with people that are in the solution, and like gathering and having regular meetups and like working together collaboratively and building relationships, because we do know what's coming, but like but when you're in that solution and you're in a state of preparedness and awareness and togetherness, then you don't have to be fucking scared. So you're not in that lower fucking frequency, because that feeds the beast just as much as compliance does, if not possibly more. They love that shit. Because when you're scared, you can't make good decisions. You can't be innovative. You can't be creative. Like,
You're also reactive.
So predictable.
You're reactionary. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And then
you're very predictable when you're scared. And I got to check myself too. You know what I mean? Like, I even had somebody talking to me last night when they're just like, no, don't go down that hole. Don't fear. Like, focus on this shit. Don't focus on that. Not meaning turn away from this, but like, you know, they were like, this is what grounds you and like makes you who the fuck you are. Like, if you keep that close to you.
yeah. I mean, I got to watch it myself, dude. I get so easily blackpilled when I like really start paying attention to this shit. Cause because we can talk about this because like you briefly mentioned it like in those documents where it's talking about 2025 and what they say that we have to get the population down to, and you start like paying attention to like something like the Georgia Guidestones where they say like the optimal fucking population is 500 million. And then like I was also listening to a video from one of these fucks from the Club of Rome, and he was like putting out this info, and he's like, yeah, everybody wants freedom, everybody wants liberty, and he goes, but we can only have that if we have a small population. And so he says, which is impossible, he says, I'd want us to be down to like a few million. And he goes, but now we're up to several billion. And he goes, and if we are going to have this big of a population, then we have to have this technocratic, we have to have this very overarching, like very in charge, powerful state. And it's just fucking wild. Like they're out in the open, like literally you can find these videos of these fucks. And so like, I mean, it was almost a nice video because he wasn't talking about how he's going to kill everybody. He was just like, well, we just have to have a very powerful state that just controls absolutely everything. And I was like, you know, but yeah. So let's talk about depopulation agenda, because that shit's for real.
Oh, 100%. And so I'm glad I just picked this up because it made more sense to me when it was broken down. It was broken down in a very like scientific, like mathematic way, because it is math to them. It's literal social engineering. And like every theory or formula in like the basic science of mathematics, that's how they control the economy. They just copy paste. They just are like, oh, this works. Okay, we're going to apply it to the economy then. And so that's why this document, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, is so interesting, because not only do you have everything like that and you're like, holy shit, I never would have thought of it like that. Like, it's literally the blueprint for how they made our whole system. But there's also fucking diagrams. And they're like, see, like, so if this is this and this equals this and this is the current of how it flows and da 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 da. And I'll pick up on certain terminology or certain like theories that they put in there. And I just read a document today, you know, however many years later, or like, God, how many years later? Almost 100. And I'm like, oh shit, that same company that's about to fuck with our power grid in 2 months, they're called that.
Mm-hmm. Like, if you pay attention to that, like it's the same players. It's the same players. Yeah.
100%. But so the depopulation agenda, it was interesting the way that they, it's weird to say that depopulation is interesting, but I had to like be as fucking detached from it as possible. And like I said, I had to do a lot of my spiritual practice. My friend was like, I hope you're doing your Kundalini yoga, because that's just going to fuck your head up. Because this was like by far the most disturbing thing I've probably ever read in my life. And I've been going down the rabbit hole since I was like 16. I'm 33 now. So it's, you know, like I've seen a lot of things. This is really disturbing, but they did break it.
Same. Down. I'm 33 too. Illuminati confirmed. You can't trust anything we've said.
I love it. What month were you born in?
September.
Okay, so Virgo.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. I'm a Virgo rising. Yes, so there's some interesting things in here, but basically, check this shit out. So when they talk about balancing the account, they're talking about the economy, right? Because you know, the way that they take power is by means of inflation. So it says they must eventually resort, they being international bankers, they must eventually resort to war to balance the account, because war ultimately is merely the act of destroying the creditor, us. And the politicians are the publicly hired hitmen that justify the act to keep the responsibility and blood off the public conscience. See, and then in parentheses, because the whole thing wasn't released, I only have this. It says, see section on consent factors and social economic structuring. Then it says, If the people really cared about their fellow man, they would control their appetites for greed, procreation, etc., so that they would not have to operate on a credit or welfare social system which steals from the worker to satisfy the bum. This is not my
They
words.
say that. I
They,
love it.
yeah,
They know that shit.
I'm reading out of this right now, and this was written a long time ago. These are not my words. And then it says, since most of the general public will not exercise restraint, there are only two alternatives to reduce economic inductance or inflation. Yeah, follow the cabal, spread the word. Yes, that's a great docuseries. Available on BitChute. Joe just posted that shit. So since most of the public will not exercise restraint, there are only two alternatives to reduce economic inductance of the system, which is how they keep checks and balances. One, let the populace bludgeon each other to death in war, which will only result in total destruction of the living earth. Two, take control of the world by use of economic silent weapons in a form of quiet warfare and reduce economic inductance of the world to a safe level by a process of benevolent slavery and genocide. So do you see how fucked that last sentence was? Benevolent slavery and genocide. But if you pay attention to their language and even look at their recent publications, like whether Rockefeller, Rothschild, Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum.
Well, it's benevolent, so don't worry about it.
They're always saying crazy shit, but it's always under the guise of like progressiveness and sustainability and saving the fucking world, you know, whatever. It's so easy if you don't know what they really mean and can't catch like, whoa, hey, like what the fuck do you mean you're preparing millions of dollars for an emergency response to it, you know, such and such. They just get caught up on the fluff language and they're like, oh my God, they're here to save us. And so yeah, but basically their depopulation situation is in order for their here's your fucking Joe. So basically depopulation to them, and they do break it down and get a lot more specific about it, which again is why I'm like, motherfuckers, they break it down because they're like, you know, eventually the inflation gets too high. And if it gets too high, then the system collapses, and then the faith that the people have in the system and the banking system collapses, and it's exposed for the fucking sham that it is. So they can't have that. So what they need to do is wage war or commit genocides or even slow wars or slow genocides, like poisoning the elements, poisoning our food, poisoning our medication, over-medicating, medicating for no fucking reason, anything like that, to reduce the population. Because then once the people die off, guess who gets to reclaim their leftover space they were taking, their resources they were taking, their assets they fucking were holding, their money, their da. And so it circles everything back in. So it's literally, these are, again, I'm not a genocidal maniac. These are their words, not mine, but it is their way of bookkeeping. And essentially that's their checks and balances system, is that they have to have control over the population because they believe that humans are fundamentally too selfish and too greedy to be in too high a numbers, and that it's just not sustainable. Not because the planet can't handle it. They just think that it's, you know, they say it's just a problem with human character. But I also think that they are just some coward ass fucking sociopaths that just want to play God and have a, you know, self-constructed world where they have their own sense of fucking security. That's what freedom is to them. Just like, you know, to some of us living on a fucking homestead might be freedom to us, but to them it's like, nah, they need
I mean, how scary is it if you are the ruler and then your population, you know, outnumbers you by like 10,000 to 1?
Yeah.
100,000 to 1. You know, it starts getting scary. You might have your finger on a button with some weapons. You might have some security guards, but like, how much do your security guards have in common with you as compared to the people that you're trying to protect yourself from? You know, it starts getting a little scary. And like, you might start getting a little visions from, you know, the French Revolution when people start getting hungry, and we might start fantasizing too about guillotines and having your head roll, and Minecraft, of course. But I mean, all of this is just, it's so funny to me, like the benevolent part where they say like benevolent slavery. And I mean, I guess like I was trying to explain to my son what indentured servitude was, because we had this conversation about like the Irish that came over here and how they were essentially slaves, and how they, you know, but that's a whole different conversation. But I was like, I mean, how is that any different than where we are really right now? Because like, if you don't play ball, if you don't fucking work for the man, and so you're making this money, like you can't even own a property. So let's say, like, because back in the fucking day, I mean, I guess you'd have to pay some sort of rent or something, but like, let's say that I own this house. I supposedly own this house, but there's always property taxes. No matter what, you can be fucking 95 years old, and if you don't pay your property taxes, you're gonna get
getting yanked. I mean,
you're
yeah,
yanked.
you're considered an enemy of the fucking state because they're like, this is United States government land. Like, if you get a deed to a land, it wherever your name goes when you're buying land, it literally just says tenant. So you're just a fucking you're a glorified renter. You're still a tenant of the land. Like, you cannot privately own land in the like, I don't know if you can do that anywhere, but definitely not the fucking United States, because they're like, well, then that means that you're not under our laws or a part of our country. So then therefore you're a fucking enemy in our bed. So like, that's a fucking problem. So
Yeah, and see, that's what this country was built on. Was, well, supposedly. I mean, the ideals that this country was built on was about people being able to like lock in like fucking land ownership, that like property rights and things like that. We should be able to fucking, if they're not doing anything with this land, if it's undeveloped, I should be able to go and homestead it and take it and fucking build something and make it my own, and then I am my own ruler in my own land, my own little property. And obviously that's not the fucking case.
Yeah, no, not the fuck at all. And it also, the document does talk about how important it is to like alter history and like have false history be taught. So it's like, who fucking knows, dude? Like,
dude, that's what I've been getting into hardcore. Is I've been getting into like Tartaria, and I've been learning about all this like fun things, because it's like, I mean, I was the biggest history nerd on the fucking planet. I loved history. I would fucking get straight A's in history because like that was the most fascinating thing to me. And then you find out, you know, obviously, I mean, that's a Winston Churchill quote that like, you know, history is written by the victors, right? And then I would start watching how things were being painted in the present, you know, and I'd be like, that's not how it happened. But that's how the news will fucking say that it happened. And then you go, holy shit. And this is how it's going to be written in a history book. And this is how I would learn about it 10 years, 20, 30, 40, 100 years from now. All I'm going to hear is what the media has to say about this certain situation. Like January 6th is going to be painted as like this crazy insurrection that the democracy almost fell and America was almost overturned by some MAGA fucking, you know, patriots or something. You know what I mean? And like, so once you realize that history is just a narrative that has only been written by the fucks in charge, you're like, Jesus Christ, fuck everything. I don't know anything. Yeah. And then you start to piece things together. Like, I think that this whole like Great Reset like concept has been a reoccurring thing where like they just like, I mean, you could probably talk about like when the Roman Catholic Church took over like what Christianity was, and then when scientism took over like during the Enlightenment, you know, something like that. The Enlightenment, like the Illuminati, the whole like Lightbringer, Lucifer, that whole rewriting of fucking history then, and like the 1900s when shit like, dude, I want to know more about like the fucking like the World Fair, the orphan trains, like all this crazy shit that happened. Like, we're in the middle. And what's fascinating is that you and I right now, and everyone listening, we're in the middle of one of these fucking great resets. Mm-hmm. And if we don't play ball, if we don't fucking listen, we're going to be one of those people that get buried and killed. Why was there so many fucking orphans around the 1900s? What the fuck happened to all their parents? Why was there literally infants for sale at World Fairs? You could just buy a baby. Where the fuck did they come from? Like, it's fucking wild.
It is fucking crazy. And it's hard to, there are some documents where it's like, okay, this could be real, this could not be. But it's like, you know, we weren't there and we know that the official story is not true.
We don't know what the fuck's happening in Russia right now. I don't know if there's Uyghur Muslims. I don't know what the hell's actually going on in China. Yeah. I know that our government hates China. I know that are, you know, so I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't Uyghur Muslims that are enslaved and that there's not gulags and there's not organ trafficking, but also what I'm saying is I'm not there, so I don't fucking know. I know that the right wing in this country wants to attack China and is looking for motivation for it. So
yeah, I mean, and it's hard to tell too with that whether that's like just more optics and theatrics to keep the talking because it's such a fucking hot button. Like everybody they go back and forth about it or whatever. Because that was another thing, also another which is not hard to figure out just by observation, but just it was hugely emphasized all throughout this document that to keep the public distracted by things of no actual substance or pertinence. And that's politics to me. Like all the fucking shit, even people that are getting
Roe v. Wade.
I was just gonna say Roe v. Wade shit. I'm like, God, will you guys shut the fuck up? Like, dude, how did you not see that is not a fucking first off, that happened the day they
the second it happened. Yeah, I was like, perfect fucking timing.
Come out from Pfizer about how fucked their product is and how they've known it from the start and it has no durable immune system response and it's just like fucking hella shit up. So that's out there, but they were like, no, there was a SCOTUS fucking.
I might not be able to murder my baby when I want to.
Women's right, and it's like that really is an issue that's perfect because it affects everybody, right? It touches people that are religious. It touches the left and the right paradigm. Aliens are real. We're solely being xenopilled. Yeah, dude. Dude, I got some video. I should just fucking send Joe all my videos that are fucking ripped from the internet. I can also do the same thing with you. What the fuck was I saying? It's perfect because it touches the women's rights. It touches the fucking my body, my choice shit. It touches the left versus right, touches religion. It touches fucking everything.
Body sovereignty and autonomy.
Yeah,
like
it got everybody.
I love that meme. It's like I'm like, dude, you've been literally spending the last 2 years telling me that I had no bodily autonomy.
I know. I'm like, it's the same motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But it's like whatever. Like I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Jam, fucking John. If your chat stopped working, I can see that just popped up.
Yeah, we can see you, brother. You're still here.
That maybe it's not. Yeah, I have seen a few from you, John.
But I mean, to me, that's absolutely the wildest thing is that they are just keeping us distracted. This is all just fucking bread and circus. And it's complete 100%. Bullshit. Like
that's complete. It's like that's why I don't even I even felt like talking about the vaccines or like the Davos shit or I'm not going to talk about monkeypox. It's the dumbest fucking thing in the world. But yeah, it is complete fucking distraction bullshit. They bring it up every couple of years. It's the same fucking issue. Nothing ever happens except for everybody just screams a little bit fucking louder and just.
Do you know the little thing that nobody's paying attention to is that so because of this, right, if Roe v. Wade, let's say it actually gets fucking because nothing has actually happened. That's the funny thing. It's like this is just so let's say that they overturned this shit. Let's say they did. So then it's going to be up to the states to decide, right? And so maybe Georgia and fucking I don't know, some other podunk place is going to be like, we don't want to kill our babies, and good for you. That's great. I'm glad that you don't want to kill your babies. But the bluer, the more democratic, whatever you want to call them, are going to go even harder and are going to be passing laws that put it in their state constitution. Like Oregon, I think Oregon has it in our state constitution. You have a right to an abortion. But somebody brought this up and I was like, holy fuck, I'd never even thought about this. There's laws being written right now about how it's something about how if the baby is born, let's say the baby's born, and you're still allowed to abort it, right? So this is basically live infanticide, right? So they can kill the baby, but even if let's say it lives or whatever the fuck it is, it's written in there in some places, and I think this is the overarching. I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong, but they're talking about how it can be kept alive. It doesn't have an end date for how long it can be kept alive for things. So literally can you think of a better way? So like, let's say that you're 9 months pregnant, you go in to have it like aborted, and as soon as you sign the paperwork, that infant or whatever the fuck you want to call it, clump of cells, it's just a clump of cells, right, is now the government's. Like that's theirs now. And so what if they want to keep it alive? There's no end date on some of those. They literally have like a piece of property now. They could have it for slavery. They could have it for actual like legalized, like it's theirs. It's going to be dead. They can fuck it. They could use it for adrenochrome.
Yeah,
they could use it for
think about
rituals.
Like fucking Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, and there's one other motherfucker in there. The BioMilk company.
Okay, he says that Crowder and Slightly Offensive has spoken about this. Yeah, I mean, legit, like, they could keep that thing alive and they could use it for whatever the fuck they want. Science experiments. They could use it for harvesting organs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can new ones. They can use it for vaccines. I mean, they can do 100%. Anything.
They could use it to flavor Pepsi, like aborted fetal cells are being used right now to flavor your Pepsi.
Wait, what?
Yeah, look that shit up.
Wait.
Aborted fetal cells are used to flavor Pepsi products. No joke.
Well, I'm glad I don't fucking drink soda. I drink water, kombucha, and coffee and green tea, and that's it. I don't fuck around. But what the fuck, dude? That's gross. Like what?
Fucked
up. Like, I don't even know if I want to look into that. Like I'll just I'll take it. The world's weird enough. I'll take your word for it. But yeah, no, I'm like, dude, people don't understand. It is in their best interest to have abortion still be a thing. It's not going anywhere. They're fucking with the smoke screen for the Pfizer data, so that way you guys stay fucking in your lane and don't realize that you all just got fucking bent.
What's a better way to protect those rights? You know what I mean? Then bring this up and make it a big fucking deal. And now, like all these other fucking progressive states, can lock that shit in forever and make the laws more crazy. Like I was just saying. Because, like, I mean, that's what they were talking about in Virginia. That one piece of shit. He was like Ralph Northam, something like that. Ralph Northam, like the guy he was either in blackface or he was in a KKK outfit. Do you remember that? Like that was in his yearbook for dental school or something like that.
Okay, who is this motherfucker again?
Ralph Northam. He's the governor. I think he was a governor or some fucking like congressman of Virginia, and he got caught. Like there's his they found his yearbook from his dental school. I think because he was like a dentist, right? Like. And there was like a picture of him and there's a dude in like Sambo straight up blackface and a dude in a KKK outfit. And his name is right underneath it with someone else. And so they were trying to make him, they were like, which one were you? And he's like, I'm either dressed as a KKK guy or I'm in blackface. And he says, I can't remember. He's just like, it's just funny as shit. And so like, he just refused to step down so that that's how you win. Like canceling, you just ignore it and write it out. If you ignore it and write it out, then everybody forgives you. Plus, he's a Democrat, so then everybody's just like, "Oh, that's okay," you know. But later, he was
and apologize and bow down to the fucking.
Yeah, then you're fucked.
I'm like, dude, don't shut the fuck up, dude. Because when people smell blood in the water, they're gonna fucking swarm. They're not gonna be like, "Oh, what a humble person." And we forget, no, bitch. They're gonna go over your head forever. They will not.
They're monsters. They want you.
Stop. Like, if you genuinely fucked up and did some bullshit, like, as a human being, own that. But like, I see people that like are out there just apologizing for shit that they didn't even do or that isn't even a thing, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, someone needs to take this person's phone. Because you're about to fuck your life up. But
so Ralph Northam later, they were asking him about abortion, and they literally asked him about, like, let's say that a baby is like fully, like, let's say that like I went in to get an abortion and the baby came out and it's alive.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Are you still in favor of abortion after the baby's fucking born? He's here. He's breathing. He's sitting there. And he's like, well, yes. I think that we have to keep it comfortable, and then we can, like, I don't remember how gruesome he got into it, but he was like, you came here for an abortion. I'm not sending you home with a kid. We'll kill it. And he was like, that's what we do here in Virginia.
That's
fucked.
great advertising for the state of Virginia. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no. I mean, my stance always is I don't think any fucking government ever should be telling anybody what they can and can't do with their fucking bodies. Ever. I don't give a fuck what the reason is. But that shit, I'm like, I think people need to be a little bit more in the know about, like, you know, what's happening to their child when they are handing it over to the state.
Yeah.
Fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that there are situations. Check out the abortion clinic that had to be halted from mass burning of aborted fetuses and fetus parts in their biohazard waste.
Pretty fucked. Yeah, no, I have like a nuanced opinion on that too. It's like
sell that shit.
Yeah, why burn it? Yeah, that's gold. Why are you?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm surprised because yeah, they do sell that.
I can sell that straight to Pepsi. What am I doing here?
Yeah, yeah, no, it's real creepy. It's really fucking creepy. Whether it's for like occult rituals or whether it's for science, but it's and like who fucking knows? I'm giving I'm giving man with a beard. We chat bros now. Yo, man with a beard. That is fucking my homeboy Joe. Dude, Joe is dope as fuck. Yeah, no, I'm fucking loving it, dude. And Joe, the other motherfucker, is John. And he's also dope as fuck. So, anyways,
shout out to Joe and John.
Shout out to Joe and John for holding down the chat. Yeah, no, but it's creepy as hell. Like I don't know. I understand that there are certain. Yeah, I see you, chat, bro. We bros for sure. I love that shit. Yeah, it's creepy as fuck.
We're building community right now.
Yes, exactly. This is how it starts, y'all. Like, link up, swap contact info, like figure it out. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't too. I'm not giving away your locations, but you ain't too far away from each other. I'll just say that much. So you know, you never know. You guys are like minds, unless it's important.
So let's talk about what do you have in your bug out bag? What do people need?
Okay.
What do we need to do to? Here we go. Shout out community.
Community. Yeah, no, community is everything. Because like, I'll start by saying that like my bug out bag and my bug out plan is like deliberately designed to get me to my bug in destination, which implies community. And now things are kind of like the chessboard's moving a little bit because I got some people coming in to my area that I didn't expect to be living here. And now they're like, we're coming in a couple days and like, you know, And I'm like, oh shit, well the plan's getting bigger now. So like, you know, but so jam, life straws. Yes, life straws are in mine. So here's what's in my bug out bag. I plan for a situation because you have to know like what your plan is. Are you going to bug out or bug in? I am not in a bug in situation. I rent a room on the outskirts of Nashville. This place is not fucking secure. It doesn't, you know, there's nothing here. So I got to go to a location where there are all of the things that one would need. And I'm not going to, you know, say any more on that because I'm not giving my location away, but like, in my bug out bag. So besides the obvious, like weapons. Okay. So like anybody who like doesn't have weapons or like, you know, firearms, ammunition, all that stuff, like you have to, because people are going to be taking your shit. Other than that, since my bug out plan only requires me to be in transit for like a given amount of time, it's not a bunch of shit. Right. So I have, these collapsible, storable, like, they're small, but they hold like multiple gallons of like fresh water each. And then I also have a portable water filtration device, and I have more than one. So you got to have your water, you got to have food. I have like a little first aid kit. You need a compass and a map, and you need to know where you're going. And ideally, before we get in this situation, if you know that you're going to a bug out location that's kind of farther away from you and you need GPS to get there, bro, type it into GPS now and write down the fucking directions and write down like how many miles is in between like each fucking turn that you need to make, and like zoom in.
Pretend we're in 1995.
Yeah, because there's people alive right now that have never had to use a fucking map, you know, and I'm one of them. You know what I mean? Like I've never had to use a fucking map before because like by the time I was, you know, actually like driving outside of Oregon, you know, the GPS was a fucking thing. So like I never.
That's a fucked thing, man. It's like I'm so dependent on fucking Google Maps. I'm
my
such a
God, I
bitch.
know.
I'm
Well,
like,
it's scary too because like for like what I do for my matrix job like requires me to use GPS because I fucking I deliver stuff. And like we've been having some weird shit going on with the phones where I live. And like I had full service, dude, my phone stopped working for an hour, meaning no GPS, could not use the phone, no apps would work, could not do messages. I didn't know where the fuck I was. And I'm like, yo, like how dumb is this? Like I live in an area where I don't know the area that well. So now I'm paying way more attention where I'm going places, but
yeah,
I don't have a map. I don't have a compass and like my navigation isn't working. So like what the fuck am I going to do? Like do I even know my directions? You know what I mean? Like where the fuck am I going? The other thing to consider is like when you are prepping, when you have a bug out bag and you're prepping for whatever food you're going to take with you, you have to make sure it is not only like dense in caloric intake, but fats, proteins, carbs, and then you also need nutrients and vitamins and minerals. Often things like freeze dried or dehydrated foods will not have that, which is why I got something also called survival tabs, which are like technically you could live off just these. It wouldn't last you more than a week, but it's meant to be added in with like somebody who's living on emergency food kit or freeze dries food, because it's all it is just a shit ton of vitamins and nutrients and minerals. So that's in my bug out bag as well. Obviously, flashlight, batteries. I already mentioned the weapons. What the fuck else? Having one of those radios, whether it's like hand crank or solar powered or battery, worst case scenario, that's really important because a lot of those also will double as like a device charger. So like your phone's not going to work, but like let's say that you have something on there that you need to get off of it or like whatever, you might need it. So and then you can also tap into like what's going on the AM, FM, and then like NOAA or just like the national broadcasting services. Like you want to be able to tap in. Those are pretty compact as well. So you need water. You need a way to filter the water. Also, something to say to everybody: test all of your fucking gear for your bug out bag before you have to bug out. Because I ran into this problem where I ordered a portable, like a personal water filter, and I was like, all right, I'm going to test it. Dude, fuck that product. I won't, throw them under the bus, but I returned it and got other ones because I was like, yeah, exactly. Handheld ham radio will be good. Yeah, 100%. You want that shit, 100%. And so for me, like I tested out the water filter. I barely got any fucking water out of it, and it tasted like plastic. And I'm like, dude, how the fuck is this gonna help me? And the amount of water that I needed to get through this tiny little device to just get like a sip is just not realistic because like you really have to conserve your fucking water. So, and then also you want to make sure like, hey, yo, if you've got containers for water, like for your bug out bag, is there water in them already? Because like at this point, you should be in the habit of, yes, there is in case shit hits the fan, because you're not going to get a warning when the fucking plumbing turns off. And then what you need to do, because you need to be mindful of plastic leaching, is just switch the fucking water out like every fucking 2 weeks or however often, you know what I mean? Just keep switching it out. If you're storing water in like in a place like a garage, don't put it on the cement or the concrete because those chemicals actually can leach through the plastic and into the water. So if you
interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you are storing water, like put a tarp down or something down and then store your water. Now we come to gasoline, because I know for me, like I always keep my gas on full. Like at the end of the night, every fucking night when I come home, there's a gas station right by my house. I fill up. I don't care if it's only like $10 worth of gas.
Dude, I try to get this through my wife's head. Yeah, I don't want
I
the
stay on
gas.
full.
Yeah.
I stay the fuck on full.
That's smart.
You have to, because you never, because if when the lights go out, and we've literally been told, and I have the fucking documents, and even Bloomberg just put something out last week about this shit. It's like, it's not an if, but it's a when. And then they were like, oh yeah, fire starter kit. That's another thing too. Oh yeah. And I got one of those, like emergency survival blankets. So it works for both types of elements. So like it'll keep you warm as fuck, or you can, turn it around the other way, and if it's really hot out, it's reflective. So then it acts as like a cooling agent too.
That's smart. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so those are dope. So I do have one of those as well, because you don't know. So yeah, like what Joe mentioned, like flares. Like, yeah, if you're outside, the only thing I'm careful about is like I imagine being in a situation just when
I'm
I'm
not
going
trying to attract attention.
where I don't want people knowing
Yeah.
where I'm at. Yeah. So like so it depends. Like, are you with a big group where you guys are all well armed, and are you trying to get the attention of like people that you know are safe, or like are, you know, da da da? Because normally, like, I'm trying to move in silence. When it comes to gasoline, there is a very specific way to store that. For me, I know exactly how much I need to get to where I need to go, including the tank that's already in my car, but I'm going to need more than that. Unless, well, I have 3 options. 2 out of the 3 options require more than 1 tank. So basically, if you want to fucking store hatchet, yes, yeah, any type of, oh yeah, can openers too, shit like that. If you're bringing canned food with you, which you should. And there's also a book. I see if I can fucking. I'll see if I can find it later. But
there is also, for everyone listening right now, and if you have Telegram, there's an awesome channel called Preppers Collective. And go there, join it. There's about 10 million books that they have on PDF version for free. For like, you can like, it's for like catching like beavers, or you know what I mean? They have literally everything that you could even fucking imagine. Like how to make antibiotics when you're out in the fucking middle of the woods, what kind of plants you can fucking eat, what kinds you can't, how to make an improvised fucking what the hell do you call it? Like, you know, a place to fucking stay. Like,
yeah, like a tent or something.
A tent, like anything. A shelter. Yeah. There you go. Improvised shelter. Like absolutely everything. Improvised ammunition, how to make a fucking serious bow and arrow, how to make a fucking fishing hook. All this shit is on there. Get it, pick the important ones, download them, and print them, because we're looking at a situation where we might not have the internet. So get all that shit printed, have some fucking copies, and carry those with you too, because goddamn it, books I think are going to be real valuable.
Yeah, so the books are very important, and that's why I actually just got a printer too, because all those PDFs, like, I need to be printing out. There are a number of like post electrical grid failure, like that. So that book Lights Out by Ted. What the fuck? I was just looking at it. Hang on.
Ted Kaczynski?
No.
He wished the lights went out.
No. It's fucking, where is it, bro?
We have Bonfire Bear says you can survive with just an Eagle Scout handbook and a firearm if you train and have common sense. That's interesting. I haven't looked into the Eagle Scout handbook.
I know who that is. Yeah. Yeah. So again, the firearm piece is so fucking important. But yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and I just highly suggest that everybody make sure you have it as hard copy. Do not fucking be like, oh, it's on my phone. Your phone is not going to mean fuck all. Like,
this is not going to exist.
Not going to exist, and neither is the computer. Like, nothing. So get your.
And even if it does, that's awesome. But pretend like this, your computer, everything. Pretend like this shit does not fucking exist.
Yeah. So you want to prep for that. And then my other biggest thing is, you know, just I know how much gasoline I need to do what I need to do. So, and I know how to store it. There is a way to store it, and definitely a way fucking not to. So if anybody is thinking of doing that, like, please, for the love of God, do your research and like, don't fuck that up and blow something up. But there is a way to store it safely. And so like, that's part of my thing too. And so like, if I gotta bug out, like, guess what? I'm going to go get my fucking jerry cans. And like, I know exactly how much my tank takes and like how much I need. And that's, again, like, I think that, you know, we'll be in a situation a lot sooner than, you know, the 6-month mark where I'd want to rotate the fuel. But if you are storing it, you'd want to obviously add fuel stabilizer to it. Do not fill it all the way up. And then you would want to like rotate it like every 6 months. John says, well, I have a solar battery bank. You can use your phone as a storage, research, survival guides, maps. Yes. Yeah. So like that is a possibility too, but like, you know, nothing beats having like, you know, the shit in your hand. But yeah, for sure. That's another thing with the solar devices too, is if anybody gets anything, I don't care if it's from a store or if you're ordering from Amazon, the motherfuckers are preying on people right now because they know everyone's doing it. Test everything when it's not an emergency, because you don't want to be in a situation where it is, and then you go to be like, oh, here's my fucking solar power hand crank radio that also is a USB and a flashlight and has a compass on it and does this and that and the third, and it doesn't fucking work. Or like the personal water filtration device that I had, like just for what I'll need, just in emergencies or just temporarily while traveling, like I tested it out and it didn't fucking work. And and the only amount that I got through tasted like plastic. It's like, what would I have done? I would have not been able to have that fucking water filter. You know what I mean? So it's just basically like, when you're prepping, prep for a situation. Like, understand, because everybody's is different. Some people don't have to bug out. Some people are in locations where they can bug in and it's completely different. And the game does change once you're in a bug in location, because then it becomes about long-term survival. Like, you can store all the stuff you want, but that is not going to last you forever. So like, you do still need to understand how to hunt, how to fish, where is the closest water supply, what type of water is in that water supply. Like, do you have any fucking foraging skills? Like you said, like, what can I eat that grows naturally? Like, what doesn't, that kind of stuff. So like, you do need to know that. But just like, if you're someone like me who's in a city, and does not have access to like an up and running homestead, and like hasn't been prepping for fucking the last 10 years or whatever, and like, is just in the situation I'm in, where I'm like, I live in this world, but like, I also live in like the let's make music and do all this bullshit while society still stands world, which we might only have another 2 months left of that. That I prep according to my situation. So people should just do that. But the biggest thing is, understand that when shit hits the fan, you will not have a phone and you will not have electricity, and understand how much you use for that and find a way to supplement it. Understand that gas pumps won't work. Understand that your money, your debit card, it ain't gonna fucking work. Understand how people react in emergencies. If you haven't been in a situation where there's been mass panic before, like I have, and it's not fucking pretty. But when they do, people that you think are your friends or neighbors could come and fucking kill you for water. You don't think they won't. The biggest mistake that you can ever fucking make is to underestimate people or situations. Don't. I'm not saying run out there like thinking that you're fucking Rambo and, be on the offense, because that's not smart either.
In the words of the great Alex Jones, I will eat your ass.
Oh my fucking God, dude. Yeah. It's like, you don't want to do that either. Like, I mean, at least for me, like, I'm aware like of my situation. Like, I may have another person with me. I may not, like, while I'm in transit, like it may just be me, but it's like, I gotta, like maneuver a certain type of way and like kind of be in the shadows, be in silence. I gotta choose routes in advance where I know I'm not going to be going through certain like large city areas where like riots are likely going to be going down, because if you get stopped there and they see you, it's like, they're going to fucking pull you out the car and, take your life, and they're going to take your shit. They're going to take your car. They're going to want your gas. They want your food. They want your water. They want your gun. They want your bullets, Security would eventually become the most important resource. Yes, I agree 100%, because if you
have
security,
clean water,
what the fuck's the point of literally having anything else? You're just collecting it for the next person who's going to come take your shit. Because that's real. And I experienced that shit in LA just in 2020. We had that happening all the fucking time. People were.
I experienced that in Hillsborough at Costco. Yeah, it was fucking wild. Like people were gonna stab you for a fucking for toilet paper.
Yeah, we had people breaking in like to where I lived and like, robbing people, stealing all the fucking shit, like the mail. People were like busting out the windows. I come home to like a pool of blood and be like, fuck, where's the body? Like it was a fucking mess, dude.
That's California though.
Well, that's inner city. Like
I grew up in California. I was born in California. It's wild. I left there for over a decade ago and I've never fucking been back. I had to for like a layover. So I was like in the airport in Oakland, but that doesn't count. I didn't leave the airport. I got on the plane and got the fuck out of there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I see no. I mean, I don't know why people even fucking still live there, but I'm not going
It's
back. I'm not going
okay.
back.
Honestly, the most beautiful state. It has every single thing that you've ever wanted there. Not in LA. LA's ugly, but go to Northern California. It's the
Northern California
most
is amazing.
beautiful
Yeah, it is
place.
really,
Yeah,
really beautiful.
I
Yeah,
get it.
I
It's
haven't
just
spent much time
run like shit by psychopaths.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is the way that it is, and plus with like everything being a vax passport city, or at least all the main cities, I'm like, well, I'm not vaccinated, and I'm not ever going to be. So like, why in the living fuck would I live in
Yeah.
an area where that's required, and also where the living expenses are through the roof? No, but fuck no. And also the whole thing about you can't own a gun, like, or I mean, it's like technically you can, but if someone breaks in your house in California and you shoot them, you get a murder charge. I'm like, then
Oregon
what the
too.
fuck is the point of having the you fucking lunatic? Like
Oregon
I
too.
was in a self-defense situation when
Yeah.
I lived in LA, and I went to jail and I didn't even touch this fucking person. The charge got dropped after 6 months, but like literally for me standing up to a grown-ass man who's a bitch for calling the cops on me, because he was fucking, like he's bugging out. He'd been locked in his little studio or whatever for too long. People's mental health declines, like whatever. But like, if you're gonna be harassing me and shit, like I'm gonna do something about it. But I didn't touch him. But because there was a domestic disturbance, like somebody can get murdered in front of my apartment, the cops don't show up, but like apparently for that they were there in 20 minutes. And so I was in LA County during fucking, the initial 2020 COVID shit. And I'm just like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. Like but I don't talk to cops. Like if I get arrested, like I don't say anything, because like I could have easily been like, nah, that motherfucker been harassing me for like 6 weeks straight. Like he's creepy as fuck. I've talked to the building managers. They won't do nothing about it. Like this person lives above me. No, I didn't say shit. So yeah, I had to sit in jail for a minute. But like I don't talk to cops, dude, because they just use everything again. And then
Yep.
6 months later the charges dropped and it's fine. But that was another reason why I'm like, I will not live in any state where I have to risk a fucking murder charge for defending myself, because you have to defend yourself. You are an idiot if you live in an area like that and don't have a means of self defense. It's nuts.
So we're a little bit past 2 hours right now. Let's sum this shit up real
We are.
fast. So food is going to it's scarce right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to get scarcer. Our money is worth nothing. It's going to be worth less. So if you're listening to this right now, buy some things that you're actually going to need, buy some things that you're actually going to eat, buy an extra bag of rice when you're at the store, buy some more canned goods. Don't think that these things are going to be around. Don't get comfortable. Pretend that we're not going to have the internet or any type of technology. So we're just going to have to get real comfy and caveman like. And is there anything that I'm missing? Let's sum this up. What do people need to know? Get to know your neighbor.
Community building, and
Yeah.
really important. Obviously, use your discernment skills, because people aren't exactly. Some people are just absolute fucking gems, truly, and some people are some head cases that you want nothing to do with. So, like, just again, don't underestimate anybody. Keep your own spiritual shit in check too,
Yeah.
because you cannot form community if your own inner community is not right. Like if you're not emotionally available, or you got all these fucking skeletons in the closet that you haven't dealt with, like you're not going to do well with others, bro. Like that's conditioning that we bought.
Yeah, prepping isn't just about having
It's
food and weapons.
no,
Prepping is about,
you
yes,
gotta have
this gear.
legitimate like social skills. You gotta actually be a trustworthy, authentic person who's reliable. Like the whole word is bond thing. It's heartbreaking to see how much of a like lost art that is. I'm just like, can there be a motherfucker that is who they say they are, or that does what they say they do? And they are out there for sure, but they're just not common. But they are out there. So community building, we did list some resources to find that. If you are still having problems finding that in your area, reach out to either one of us, because we can link you with the resources. The benevolent being. And yo, what was that Telegram group that you talked about?
Oh, the Preppers Collective.
I bought one a week ago. Also, I wonder if we're buying the same one. I'll talk to you after this though. What's the Preppers thing?
It's called the Preppers Collective on Telegram.
Shit.
It's fucking amazing. They have
There's
everything.
so many people in this. What the fuck?
It's super serious. I ran into that the other day. There's fucking gems on Telegram. Take advantage of it now.
Yeah,
there are resources. There are.
You're slipping. You're slipping.
Even if this is the 100 flowers blooming or whatever, and we are going to get all thrown in the gulag together, at least we'll have fun at FEMA camp and we'll have a good time.
We'll have the best FEMA camp. Basically community building is insanely important. If you've got shadow work or unresolved trauma or emotional issues or whatever, work through them. Understand that the Matrix has conditioned you to a degree to have a level of narcissism. So fuck all that. We need to transition from compete to come eat. Like it really does need to be like that. So these people that are out here in the movement, like learn to discern which motherfuckers are in it for the clout versus in it for the cause, because you're going to run into that shit too. So like just because somebody seems like they have shared interests as you, don't think that they're in it for the right fucking reasons, because you will find out the hard way. And like time is the most precious commodity right now. Don't fucking waste it. So get on your shit. When you do prep, figure out what your individual needs are, what your plan is, and then, tailor to that. And always prepare for a situation, once again, where there is no power, no phone. Get anything that's on your phone that you need written in a hard copy, store it somewhere safe. Know your directions. If you don't, like, get a fucking compass, get a map. And even if you need a road map of the United States or just the state that you live in, like, just make sure that you have that kind of shit. And understand that, electricity ain't going to be working. Gas powered stuff is going to be limited. Obviously, it's whatever's above the ground is what's available. You're not going to be able to pull nothing else out. So just understand that, but also like, don't freak out. It's hard to not get blackpilled. I know it's a lot of information, but don't freak out too hard. There are people out there. There are the amount of groups I'm in on Telegram is fucking ridiculous. And they're all people that are like, I literally met up with people in real life and shit from these groups. And that shit continues, you know what I mean? Because in real life, meeting is ultimately how you will build the relationship and discern. It's like, it starts on Telegram and then you guys can organize an event in a public place. And then
thanks, brother.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So community building is huge. Freedomcells.org, Telegram groups, IC, those letters I, and then the letters C, like cat.org, another one. Just tap in if you need more help. I would say contact us, but I just want people to understand that don't get distracted by bullshit. Like, make sure your basics are taken care of, because they are going to start implementing these electrical power grid shock testing. Read Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars to understand what that means. August 2022, you have 2 months. I don't know what it's going to look like, so I'm not going to tell you, it's going to be an all-out blackout all at once. I don't know if they're going to do it in little places or if it's going to be
they're going to wait till it's hot as fuck.
Also that's a great way to kill off livestock too.
Kill your livestock, kill off the old people that aren't paying taxes anymore.
Kill the pets. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the food would spoil fastest. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It would make more sense to do it like. And it says August 2022. This is Rothschild document. So, they don't really fuck around. And also understand and assess, the strengths and weaknesses of your geographic location. Do you need to move? Do you live in one of those states that's a pilot state for some of these energy testing programs, which is Texas and California? Are you in a safe space? Like, is there an area for you to duck out to? Like, is there not, just figure out who's joining groups and building communities and like start attending meetups and shit like that. Like, just, people really are out there.
Take this right now as your wake up call.
Please.
And get desperate for a minute. Quit being comfortable. Being comfortable is the enemy. Being comfortable is like, I'm not telling people to freak out, but freak out. Like right now is the time. Don't totally freak out, but start paying attention.
Yeah,
Start
fight for
doing
the solution harder
work
than
hard
you fear the
right
problem.
now. We're still comfortable right now. You can still go to a store right now. We can
Yeah.
still drive our cars. We can still buy gas. Jesus Christ, is gas expensive? And dude, it went up a dime overnight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I saw it rise 15 cents overnight where I'm at. Yeah.
Holy
But
fuck.
at first,
Okay.
when it first picked up, it was 50 cents overnight. And I was like, and then in the country, because I was out like, quite a bit outside of Nashville for a day, it went up a fucking dollar overnight, a whole dollar. That's why I was worried about, I'm like, man, they're doing it in reverse this time. They're hitting the rural areas first. And it's like,
Yeah.
that was also detailed in this sociopathic manual that I read. But I would suggest reading it. Just make sure that your self-care and whatever you do to like keep your mind and spirit right is on point. Like really do not be caught slipping. And if you have any physical dependencies like addictions, like bro, there's a reason why I'm on day 7 of no cigarette smoking, and I literally have been a cigarette smoker for 20 years.
Wow.
Or
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
19 years.
Yeah.
19 years a cigarette smoker, and I gave that shit up. Music is obviously one reason. It was taking a toll on my voice, but also I don't want to have any fucking dependencies, and that's a liability for several reasons. But like, I don't want to be dealing with nicotine withdrawals when shit hits the. Are you fucking kidding me? He goes, just wait, gas stations are being retrofitted to read out double-digit prices. This is no joke, bro. He's fucking right. He is right about that shit.
Yeah.
No, I know where he lives at, so he would know. He would know because the gas prices are no. Yeah, which is another cool. Like if you have access to a ventilated, temperature controlled area, and you know how to properly store gasoline, and please, you do not fill it all the way. Use a fuel stabilizer. Use plastic jerry cans. Don't use the metal ones. In the event that the fumes do make it expand to the point where it does pop, you don't want fucking shrapnel going everywhere. Like, just might as well, But do that. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know when you're gonna fucking need it, and just switch it out every couple months. You know what I mean? And put the shit in your car. You can still use it, especially if it has a fuel stabilizer in it. That shit keeps it good for a minute. So,
okay. Well, I think my wife is gonna kill me if I keep going. So let's call this good. Is there anything that we're missing?
I think that we covered. Go to stopthecrime.net to learn more about smart cities, 5G. If you want HARP stuff, bro, I'm just gonna upload that video that got yeeted from the internet onto my blog and put it in my Telegram. So like,
awesome.
Go to tesstamona.com/blog, or go to Telegram, search The Great Silencing Uncensored to get to my Telegram. Instagram at The Great Silencing, also at Tesstamona on all platforms to get a hold of me. Pay attention to that shit. And then also I included the documents for Quiet Weapons for Silent Wars in this private chat. So I know that Nate has it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but just you can literally look it up. Just don't use Google, don't use DuckDuckGo, use Brave, because both of those are for sure compromised. Okay.
Awesome. Well, everybody, we appreciate you. We thank you. We love you. If you guys need stuff, I don't know, hit us up, man. If you just need someone to talk to, we're here. And Tesstamona, thank you so much. I'm going to hit the outro, but hang on for a minute because I have questions.
Okay.
So, all right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.